following is an exclusive presentation of Jessup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show right here on Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO 105.5 FM in Jessup. And, Bob, we've got a special guest on the phone with us this morning. Who do we have?
Well, it's Tuesdays with Tillery. We've got Blake Tillery on the phone. Blake, how you doing today?
Hey, Bob.
I'm having a hard time hearing. You can't hear anything.
Can you hear me any better?
No, I can hear you now. You're the man in charge of the budget. Tell us what's going on with the budget.
The House is moving really, really fast on their end, probably about a week and a half, maybe even 2 weeks faster than normal with the amended. They have finished their subcommittee meetings, so Representative Meeks and Representative Wertheiser are doing their time over there on the House side. We expect they'll probably pass that over to us this week, and so I have a long weekend ahead.
Y'all weren't in session yesterday, were you, or were you?
We were not in session. I was actually back in Vidalia practicing law a little bit and answering constituent calls about everything from some issues that folks are having with licensing boards to vaccine issues, et cetera, trying to get things squared away. Appreciate folks taking the time to call, and always happy to help where we can.
What else is going on up there in Atlanta? It's been kind of quiet. Don't hear a lot.
Yeah, it's busy up here right now. You're going into day 5. Some of the national news is taking a lot more of the steam out of the focus on us, at least news-wise. Obviously, up here we lost a great Hank Aaron. I know you were a pretty big fan there, Bob.
Yeah, if I was in Atlanta, I'd be tempted to go over there and try to get in that private area. Over at Truist Park. I said they're going to televise it on MLB Network, so I'll be tuned in at 1. So, yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, if the people of the 19th District didn't trust me to be in charge of the budget, I'd be up there too. One of the pleasures of being in the Senate was having the opportunity one time to meet Hank Aaron. And you want to talk about just a genuine person, extremely humble, quiet. His little tidbits of advice were interesting as well. Someone who's lived through what he's lived through, accomplished the successes he's accomplished, and then ended up being in Braves management and doing pretty well there too. If you asked him just little tidbits of life, there were just little nuggets that were something that I'll always appreciate. Those short few minutes that I got to spend with him, but they were cool.
Yeah, I had a few times to talk to him as well. Just a real humble guy, so it was fun to be around. But it is a loss. 86 years old, but again, most people consider him just one of the greatest athletes ever to be in Atlanta, Georgia, state of Georgia. So. What else? We talk about broadband when you hear the exit issues. I don't hear much about the broadband issue up there. What's taking place on that issue?
A lot. You've seen one was, and I think we may have talked about this 2 weeks ago. For those who missed it then, our partnership that we put together with the Cyber Center in Augusta. Remember, the Cyber Center is really pulling a lot of the employees who used to work at the Army Cyber Command Center, which is at Fort Gordon, also in Augusta. So using that strategic alliance there to pull the folks over who've been doing cyber, whether it be broadband or cybersecurity for the nation and for the Army, pulling those over into our Georgia Cyber Center. We think we've got some ideas on being able to dramatically reduce the cost of, first of all, getting broadband out in rural areas, which then helps us reduce the cost going forward. You saw the governor put $30 million into a new special, a different fund. It's in the One Georgia Fund, but it's going to be allocated differently. And that is really it's supplement money. So if local governments, communities are doing things that are spreading broadband themselves, the governor's put that money there to say, hey, you put $1 into that, we'll match your dollar so that you can get 2 out of it. It's not to do it for folks who aren't trying to move in that direction, but forward-thinking communities like Jessup, Wayne County, and others who are trying to move in that direction to come alongside them and make their dollar go further.
We have a lot of educators that are tuned in. The governor's state address talked about the $1,000 one-time payment. You said that coming out of the CARES Act, but we got a lot of educators want to know how soon will they see that arrive?
All right, well, first it's got to be, it's a great question. So it won't come in our budget because it's not state money. So we won't allocate that at all. That really is a governor's move that can be done unilaterally. You'll see the legislature work on other areas of state employees that also have been impacted during this time, whether it be frontline workers in public health, DCH, a lot of our other state employees who've had to endure things as well, corrections officers, et cetera. I apologize. I just got off task for a second when someone walked by. I apologize. So those are going to be addressed in probably more likely in the state budget. The teachers and possibly even decal workers, which is your early education workers, will be addressed out of CARES.
Another local issue here, they just built a senior center here near Bill Morris Park, and they're trying to get residents in there with the COVID and everything. Where does that stand? Have you been contacted by them?
Yeah, working on licensing, and that's something that we're working on statewide. In fact, I think I have 3 issues right now pending on licensing, whether it be licensing of nursing homes, which there may have been a statewide story about that from the AP or the AJC in the past week. Other licensing issues that we're seeing is LPNs trying to move to RNs, and then RNs making sure they can renew their licenses, et cetera. So if you have any of those questions, please don't hesitate to holler at us as well. We're working through them and trying to make some progress for you.
Is that just a bunch of red tape to get through? Is that what the problem is? Or
sometimes it's red tape. Sometimes it's folks who are out for other reasons right now, sometimes health reasons, and pushing papers through.
As you said, you're always accessible. People will contact you. You said your emails, or you said email's not the best way to go. To get in touch with you.
Right now, call me.
Yeah, to call you easier because you're getting bombarded with those crazy emails. But what are you hearing from your constituents in the early part of the session? What's their concerns?
The 3 issues that you and I have talked about early on. Budget issues are always going to be at the front of some folks' minds. Election issues are definitely at the front of the minds of folks that I'm hearing from Wayne County. I expect a lengthy debate today over more election issues, things that could possibly go into a final bill that are happening more in committees and subcommittee levels right now. And I'm seeing, like I said, a few of those come across the desk, everything from addressing drop boxes to addressing photo IDs and absentee ballots. A legitimate question came up of, hey, if I've got to show a photo ID when I vote in person, why do I not have to do that in the absentee situation? Well, there's a logistical issue of how do you show it when you're not present, and covering that issue, covering through that more security as it relates to elections integrity. And that by far is the number one issue of folks I hear from in Wayne County.
Those issues on the voting, you think those are going to go through easily, or you think there's going to be hotly debated, or how do you see that playing out?
I don't think it'll go through easily, but I think it's necessary. Folks, particularly in our area, have legitimate questions about how things, to make sure their vote counted, and those who didn't get to vote, finding out why they didn't. And so we've got that's one of the basic premises of our democracy is one person, one vote, and making sure that folks who are supposed to vote can vote, and those who aren't supposed to don't vote in elections where they're not residents. So, I fully expect that will become more political. Probably less about the issues and a lot more about politics, but I expect that will be a heated issue, hotly debated, but I do think that we'll get some resolution on it this year.
And what are you hearing on the COVID front up there? I saw where the doctor, state people said that they're having trouble locating the vaccine, getting the vaccine out. Where do we stand on all that?
Yeah, we've seen an increase in the number of doses. I think when I talked to you last week, we were at about 80,000 a week. We now are moving up to like 120,000 a week. But when you got 11 million Georgians, that's not we'd like that number to be higher. We're going to keep working till that number's higher. We've had specific issues down in our neck of the woods, with some counties being a little bit better prepared than others to move the vaccine forward. And we've also seen some of our residents be able to hop into other counties. One of the big concerns we saw was people doing exactly what I would do if I were them, scheduling multiple appointments. That's fine. Schedule multiple appointments. But if you do get one and one happens, please call back and cancel, because we're having some issue where someone may have scheduled for 3 appointments. Maybe they called Coffee County, Bacon County, and Wayne County. Had an appointment that came up at different times, went to one, and maybe didn't cancel the other 2, and it's just causing some logistical issues. Totally understand why they did it. Not going to suggest anyone not do it, but if you do get that appointment, it would be a little helpful for us if you don't mind just calling and canceling the other 2.
Well, most of the legislators staying safe. I'm down. They're being tested. Are you having any issues with the legislators at all up there with COVID, or has it been?
We are. We have a few more out today. I saw one person who I was expecting to handle an issue with for South Georgia this morning is not going to be able to be back till next Monday. We're tested twice a week. I took my COVID test about 7:10 this morning, so I'll find out shortly whether or not I'll be in for the week. I hope I am, because this one's a kind of busy one for us on budget side. But if not, I feel very capable that the other members are swooping in to take care of those responsibilities.
Senator Tillery, what do you do to make sure that you stay as safe as possible, not only while you're there in the Capitol, but at home?
Good question. Let's talk about the Capitol first, because that's sort of, folks can come see us at the office. They see how we are. My office here at the Capitol, almost everyone in the Capitol is wearing masks. If you're working in the Capitol, you're tested twice a week. That helps isolate things fast. I got to give a credit to Georgia Tech. I'm a Georgia boy, but got to give credit to Georgia Tech. Their testing has been extremely impressive. We've had folks test positive, that they stand there and go, I have no symptoms. They go home, and 2 days later we hear from them, and they're like, yeah, I'm knocked out. It's really done a number on me. So that was that their testing seems to be catching things really early. It's a saliva-based test. You essentially spit into a tube up to a certain amount, put your initials on it, and they turn those test results around the same day. It was we bought in bulk, because imagine we're buying for an entire building. So we were able to keep the price relatively reasonable. It's impressive what they've been able to do, and they're doing that at the universities as well. So we stole the idea from them that they were already using on campus. Most of my meetings are Zoom. This morning I've already had, I think, 2 or 3 Zoom meetings. Very few people are coming in person. It's been a lot. Actually, it's a whole lot more productive. I had a Zoom meeting earlier with the president of North Georgia College in Dahlonega. She never left her university. She's able to go in and meet with her staff right there afterwards, where used to folks would drive from Dahlonega the hour and a half if you're on Georgia 400 down here, meet with the appropriations chairman, then turn around and go back the same day. It's just a huge waste of time. So it's more helpful for our time. You get right to the point. You don't worry about your formalities. If you drive an hour, you feel like you got to at least spend some time making it worth it. Well, her and I were able to jump on, talk about the issues that they're having for about 20 minutes, and then me move on to the next thing.
You think some of these protocol habits? You think some of these protocol habits will stay in place once the COVID situation is under control?
That's a great question. I was talking with Chairman England, Terry England, who chairs the House committee. Remember last week we did joint appropriations meetings for the first time in person and virtual. And we were I remember those things being extremely long. We were always an hour behind schedule. We were ahead of schedule most times. We were literally having to stop the meetings because folks were wanting to turn in to hear the GBI director or the next person, and we were 15 minutes ahead of time, so we'd have to slow down so that literally the schedule could catch up with the presenters rather than the presenters ever try to catch up with the schedule.
And it's the same way. I'm on the board of directors of the Georgia Association of Broadcasters, and we've been, meeting by Zoom or by telephone for quite a while now. And it's amazing how much faster meetings can go along when you're doing it that way versus in person, when everybody's just kind of mulling around, talking about all kinds of things. And at least by Zoom and by phone, you're staying to business and you can get more accomplished.
Right, and it's the savings in time. So we're noticing that be reflected in the budget as well. We're seeing travel down. Folks are able to meet via, we're seeing conference travel down. Used to if you were gathering all your DFACS directors, there's a cost involved in that. They've got to travel to it. You've got to have a facility for them to meet. So we're seeing cost savings that we're able to put back into child care, back into children's services, back into mental health, et cetera. And I think you may soon see a corresponding reduction in state space as well.
It's been over a year and a half since I've been to Atlanta. Is the traffic settled down any with all this going on, or is it still bumper to bumper and treetop tall?
Well, you're asking the wrong person. I get to the office about 5:45 in the morning, and I leave about 7 or 8 at night. So you're asking the wrong person.
Okay.
But let me tell you this. GDOT came and gave a presentation on traffic during the budget hearings. According to them, morning travel is not back to normal. It's still remaining low. Daily traffic counts are back to close to normal in Atlanta, but in our rural areas like Jessup, Vidalia, Baxley, Waycross, etc., we're back above pre-COVID levels. So that's good to hear for our economy.
All right. You work on the budget, which means that you handle the Department of Natural Resources. And, of course, we have our very own Wayne County and Mark Williams running that department up there. Do you ever see Mark around the Capitol any or around the government offices up there?
You used to see him more pre-COVID, but now everyone's sort of pushed back to their areas. Mark Williams is a huge asset for our area. You can't meet a guy who's nicer, who understands how to talk to people better. Even when he's telling you no, you have to like him. And we also have a big, huge asset in our area, Mickey Thomaston, who serves on the DNR board, which actually deals with helping Mark implement those things across southeast Georgia. Again, I can't say enough for Commissioner Williams and what he's done for our area, whether it be in helping us preserve and protect the Altamaha River, whether it be with our state golf courses, which most of them in our rural areas, and under someone who wasn't from our area would probably be on a chopping block. They don't necessarily make the most money, but no, Mark went in, revitalized those, got in with a management company to help make sure we were stemming our losses so that folks in rural areas have the same experiences outdoors as folks in more metro areas.
Okay, Bob?
Yeah, just joining us, State Senator Blake Tillery on the phone. Yeah, I was going through my notes from the last session. One of the issues was talk about the airport, building a different airport down around. You don't hear anything about that with the COVID. Does that kind of stop that issue altogether?
I'm sure it'll come back up at some time. I have not heard that one right now. What I am hearing more about airport-wise is what we're trying to do in Wayne County, parallel taxiways, et cetera, and we're working on making sure all those things are funded appropriately.
I got you. We appreciate you being here on Tuesdays with Tillery. I know you're a busy man, but I look forward to talking to you next Tuesday. And like I said, we'll continue to follow the session as it progresses up there in Atlanta.
Well, thanks. We may be busy, but it's a blessing. It's actually a highlight of the day to get to talk to folks from home. So if there's things going on that we can help you with, please don't hesitate to holler or call. The number up here at the office where you'll reach Miss Kathleen would be 404-656-0089. Give her a break if you can. If you call and things are busy, remember we've got one staff for every 2 senators, so she's trying to cover a lot. And then if you need to call me, my cell phone number didn't change from when I asked you guys to select me. It's 912-245-9915. Thanks so much for the opportunity this morning, guys.
Okay. Thank you, Senator. All right, Senator Blake Tillery, our special guest here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show on this Tuesday morning, the 26th day of January. And, of course, not only can you listen to the show here on 105.5 FM, you can also listen to the world-famous Butch and Bob Show with the rest of the morning show from 6 to 9 on our website at bigdogcountry.com, bigdogcountry.com, and just click on live stream. And the Butch and Bob Show is also video stream, where if you went to our live stream, you would see our smiling faces. Smile. on the internet too, on bigdogcountry.com live stream. And the Butch and Bob Show is also podcast and will be on our website under B&B Show, under Twitter and YouTube. It'll be there for you to take a look at and listen to for days to come. We appreciate the Senator calling in this morning.
Yeah, we'll have Bill Werkheiser tomorrow.
That's right. State Representative Werkheiser will be on tomorrow, and then back next Monday with Stephen Meeks. So we really appreciate that. I mean, that they're very busy first thing in the mornings like that. He had already had, as he mentioned, 2 or 3 meetings already by Zoom this morning, and had some lined up right as soon as he got off the phone. But we appreciate the Senator calling in. Means a lot to our listeners and the folks down here to be able to hear what's going on up there in Atlanta, because there's all kinds of stuff going on. We just hear it right basically from the horse's mouth when we talk to the 2 state representatives and state senator. What's going on with the ship over in the Sound over there in Brunswick, Bob? Are they still cutting that thing up?
It's a slow process. I know they've done 2 cuts, but I haven't heard anything about the third. There's supposed to be 7 cuts, but
7?
I haven't heard when the third cut's going to begin. So I know they did the second cut, but I don't know I haven't seen anything on that in a while. So
I would like to go. I have to drive to downtown Brunswick and see they have the cutout of that first section just laying on its side there in the port there in downtown Brunswick, and it's higher than anything else around there, with all these little cubby hole filled with these cars and everything. It's just quite a tourist attraction down there for St. Simon's and Brunswick and Jekyll.
I don't think they want, Unfortunately, it's a tourist attraction.
It is a tourist attraction.
It's not like they're
how many times do you get to see?
I know, but it's a mess right now.
It is a mess. It is a mess.
It's been a mess. It's an expensive mess for somebody.
Whew, man.
Price tag on that's just astronomical.
Yes, sir.
But, I know Buddy Carter and him have been on top of that, trying to get that thing moving. But I said, we had the story right before Christmas that they did the second cut, but they said there's 7 cuts to go total. So they've done 2. They got 5 more to go, but I haven't heard when the third cut's going to take place. I haven't seen anything lately on that.
All right. Well, I'm sure they're working away on it, trying to get it taken care of.
I don't know what they do with all those automobiles still in there. So that's what's...
They're shot. I mean, they've been out there in seawater now for a year or so. I mean, they're rusted bolts of metal,
Somebody put them on eBay.
Just a barely used car, a little rust. You can get it at a great price.
A little waterlogged, but, might want to air it out.
Yeah, air it out, sit out in the sun. You might need a little WD, get some of the doors to open up, but,
I'm sure there's a scam in there somewhere. So.
You feel there's a scam there somewhere, huh? It's like, when Katrina hit, next thing you know, you saw all these waterlogged cars around the nation from down there who got, water up to their to the windows, But they were for sale. Someone fixed them up, cleaned them up as best as they could, and then put them on the market. And I don't know what will happen with this. These are a little more secure here, given the fact it's kind of hard to drive up to a big old boat and pull a car out of a cubby hole up there that's, way high up in the air. Yeah, so quite a situation down there still going on.
I said there's a lot of people just going down there just to see it.
Yeah.
It is.
I need to do that someday. Go down there and see what that looks like.
It's a tourist attraction, but I said I don't think St. Simon's likes the fact people. But people can't help it.
But not only St. Simon's, but you also got downtown Brunswick. I've known people who've gone over there, and I've seen pictures of it. It's quite a sight to see a big, huge ship on its side cut with all these little cars and these little cubby holes. It's like Matchbox cars. It's what it looks like. It looks like a turned over toy with little Matchbox cars all inside of it. All those cars just wasted, man. Jeez. I guess the thing just was not. They didn't time down correctly, Bob. I guess they shifted. You ever been in a boat and something? No, you don't go in boats. But ever you want something's not tied down, it shifts over to one side. Next thing you know, everybody's running over to the other side so it doesn't turn over. Must be what happened there. Must be. Well, we got if you don't like the weather today, just wait a day or two. It's going to change. We got lots of rain coming in tonight and tomorrow night. But Thursday. Back to sunshine. It was 64 when I got here this morning. When I get here Friday morning, it's going to be about 30 degrees. So it's that same weather pattern we have during the winter where it warms up and then a front comes through and it rains. The sun returns with colder temperatures and it's cold for several days and it warms back up and then it rains again. And that same pattern happens quite frequently during the winter down here in South Georgia. But they're having a lot of bad weather up in the Midwest and Northeast right now. I mean, just snow flurries and ice and everything else. Makes you miss Pittsburgh, doesn't it, Bob?
No. I said I don't miss the weather at all up there. It was nice weather this past weekend, though. So it was nice.
It was nice out there, wasn't it? Yeah. When I got home yesterday, I took my dog for about an hour-long walk, and we just had a good old time, 70-something degrees outside, and started by an hour before sunset and just enjoyed it.
Got to take the good with the bad, so you can't complain.
Yeah. Well, just enjoy the weather, and but we do have that 80% chance of rain tomorrow and tomorrow night, and overcast today. It's just basically getting more cloudy as the day goes along and the night goes along today. All right, let's see here. You were talking with the Senator Tillery about the funeral is going to be today for Hank Aaron at Truist Park.
They've got the private service today. They're going to televise that at 1 o'clock on MLB Network. Then they have the private funerals tomorrow at 1 at the church in Atlanta. I don't think they're televising that. So
okay.
I think they're doing the memorial service today.
They're doing a memorial service today at 1 on MLB Network?
Right.
Okay.
That's at Truist Park up there in Atlanta.
You never run into anybody who has anything bad to say about Hank Aaron. And not only was he a great baseball player, a great Georgian. He stayed in Atlanta. He still continued to work for the Braves in the office, and had, as Senator Tillery said, he had great tidbits of great information, of words of wisdom to give to you, and was just extremely nice to everyone that he was around. Just a super guy.
And what he went through was incredible.
Yeah, he went through a lot back then.
I mean, they didn't want him to break that record. And I said he tells a story. He got 300 hate letters a day, and he put them all in a box and kept them all. So,
man, that's just it's hard to imagine that today, the way things were back in the late 60s and early 70s.
They had security, bodyguards, that's why they freaked out when those people ran on the field after he hit the home run.
But they were just congratulating him.
I know.
I mean, they were just congratulating him and say, way to go, Hank.
Yeah, but the family at that time didn't know.
They didn't know that. They were out there congratulating him. I mean, the whole stadium just going crazy.
I think they did a documentary. There's two guys. I think both. One was a lawyer, one was a doctor, I think. So, I mean.
Oh, wow. I thought they were younger than that.
And it's been a long time since he hit the home run. They just did the documentary a couple of years ago.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they went and found those two guys that ran out of stands. And
when I just saw the picture of them out there, they just look younger than them. But, it's hard to, my memory is not as good as it used to be.
But I still remember Milo Hamilton did the call on the radio. So
yeah, he was a great baseball announcer, Milo was.
I like Milo. That's a historic moment. I still remember watching it. And I said we moved Stonewall right before the historic run for the home run. I said, they talked about last night on MLB Network. They thought he was going to break it the year before, but he was too shy. So when that season began, he hit the first home run to tie it in Cincinnati, and came back to Fulton County Stadium and broke the record.
I'm glad he broke it in Fulton County Stadium.
I think that was the plan, to break it at home. So
yeah, it just worked out good. Our thoughts and prayers goes out to his family. Just a great baseball player, a great human being, a great Georgian.
Just Phil Necro, he's passed away, but before they interviewed him about Aaron, he was a teammate for 11 years. Said he never saw Aaron get mad. Said I'm sure he got mad, but he said in the 11 years he was a teammate, he never saw him get mad at anything.
That is amazing.
That is amazing.
That is absolutely amazing. Jeez.
Hammer and Hank.
I haven't got mad since yesterday, so leave it at that. I don't see how a person doesn't get mad like that, but I guess maybe he kept it private and kept his public image up.
I hope the value of his cards go up.
You hope the value of his cards go up. Have you got some Hank Aaron cards, baseball cards?
I've got plenty.
You got plenty of them, huh? Okay. The baseball, when I bought the radio station back in 1992, baseball cards trading was big at that time.
He
died down.
It's coming back during the pandemic.
I remember when I was growing up, my first 14 years of my life, I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and all those kids down there, we got the baseball cards with the gum, and I had all kinds of baseball cards. I had a box full of them. Imagine if I kept those in great condition and just kept them. But, who would have thought the baseball cards have been of any value to little pieces of cardboard with pictures of baseball players on them, Tell them what kind of cards I had back then. But you just don't think about stuff like that. Yeah. Well, the Super Bowl coming up soon. The Chiefs are still 3.5-point favorite at this time. It's a lower field goal.
Chiefs got some issues on the offensive line. They lost one of their tackles to the torn ACL. I think they've lost 2 of their offensive linemen for this game. So that could be
by injuries.
Injuries, yes.
Oh, wow.
That could be a factor because that Tampa Bay defense is awfully good, and they've been playing extremely well. So something to keep an eye out in the course of the game. You lose 2 of your offensive linemen for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's not good for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. You think, well, I can just put another 350-pound guy there and he can do it. But no, it takes as much talent to be a good offensive lineman as it does, being a receiver or running back.
Well, plus
there's a skill to it.
It's a cohesive unit. They work well together.
Yeah, they work together as a team.
It's kind of hard to just plug somebody in there, but just something to keep an eye out. In a couple of weeks from the Super Bowl. I saw it's interesting. They're talking about only 22,000, but they said last night that they don't believe that's going to happen. They think that with it being in Tampa, there's going to be 45,000 people getting to that stadium.
I don't see how they're going to do it because you can't get through the security there. You have to get a Jacksonville Jaguar game. You got to go through 3 checkpoints just to get in.
We'll see how they play.
And that's just a regular football game in Jacksonville before COVID.
All right.
3 checkpoints you have to go through. I know you didn't have as media, but just as a regular person going on for me, I mean, you go through one, then you go to the next one, then you go to the third one to get in.
I still got to go through the metal detector as a media person.
I know you have to go through that, but this was just 3 checks. Yeah. All right. Anything else going on, Bob, on your mind this morning?
Not really.
The school board's still trying to select that new school superintendent, right?
They've got interviews lined up at the end of the month, but they meet today. We'll get an update on
There'll be a regular meeting today, or is it? Yeah, regular meeting today, so they got other issues they're going to be talking about. So Bob will have a complete report on that on tomorrow morning's morning newscast around 7:10 on the school board meeting. Well, Bob, have a good day. All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Local Boys Construction, Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings, Murphy Builder Supply, and First Southern Bank.
The world famous Butch and Bob Show.